we already knew Deshaun Watson was a pervert. We might know might know now more what a happy baby yoga pose is, and seeing grown men do it on their Twitters for likes and impressions kind of bothers me. But I want to look at this from the Houston Texans perspective, because I believe that there is a huge accusation here towards the Houston Texans. They're accusing the Houston Texans basically that they facilitated Deshaun Watson in his, at best, sexual misconduct with 24 women that have filed civil cases. There's many more who went on the record with the New York Times who didn't even file suit, whether criminally or whether civilly, against Deshaun Watson, that also speak to the pervert nature of one Deshaun Watson, former quarterback for the Houston Texans. But in this article, they speak to the fact that Brent Nakara, who was a former Secret Service agent, Texans Director of Security, which, by the way, he still is. He is still employed with the Houston Texans as their Director of Security, that he gave Deshaun Watson, put it in his locker, an NDA after one of Watson's accusers, it was Mrs. Smith, she posted on Instagram kind of a screenshot, kind of hinting that Deshaun was doing some creepy stuff, saying that I could really expose you. So the New York Times kind of covering or opening this up to interpretation, which I would think is borderline slander, to be honest with you. First, what do you think of the fact that Brent Nakara, who is the Texans Director of Security, still employed as that role as well, gave an NDA to Deshaun Watson, put it in his locker, didn't hand it to him, put it in his locker.
So what? Here's the thing. It's clickbait to have the headline to try and rope the Texans in from that perspective. Although I do think there are other angles to this where you can rope the Texans in to some degree. But to that headline and for that accusation to be why the headline was written in part is completely false. Because I'll tell you this from my own personal experiences with all my years in professional sports. Team security guys help out players all the time. And they don't always need every detail of what's going on. But I guarantee you that, you know what, our legal department used to do the same thing. If we needed anything from, an injury release form because we were playing basketball down on the practice court that they use when they have fans go on the court or when they they have certain other things going on within the organization, they dropped it off for us. It doesn't mean that by dropping it off that I'm going to go, hey, the reason I really need this is, and then go into detail and then use that as a point of contention for saying, hey, the organization knew. So I'm not going to say that from that angle right there that it's fair at all for them to say the Texans knew and this was on the Texans to be roped into this.
At worst, in that spot, the Texans knew that Deshaun Watson had somebody that was accusing him of something. It could have been whatever. It could have just been cheating on his girlfriend, right?
Right.
So the fact that they gave out an NDA, I don't really think there's a whole lot there. I think athletes have NDAs all the time.
That's what I was going to say, too. Let me just tell you this. And it's specifically about guys like the big name guys. And I think, screw it, I don't care. James Harden, security guy, who also had worked for the team, amongst others, made sure wherever they went, he had the NDAs on him and close to him to make sure, and he would confiscate phones if people were going to hang out with him. And I'm not saying, all I'm saying, it could be at the club, could be in the VIP section. It doesn't matter. But if you want
to the club,
if you want to make this an issue or you want to hang with James, you make a decision. You give me the phone, you sign the NDA. That's the way a lot of people work these days because there is too many people. Look, the one time James's security guy wasn't around a couple years ago, he ends up in bed with some Instagram model who decides to film him while he's sleeping and he's laying down next to her, and that was all over social media. It's exactly why they do what they do and also have to have their own security because people are looking to make a buck or make a name for themselves every minute of the day.
Hey guys, back to the video in just 1 minute. Before that, I want to tell you about Fitz Roofing. Fitz Roofing is dedicated to the loyal people of Houston, Texas. That means if you got a leaky roof or need a full roof replacement on your business or your home, or you want to get something done around the yard or maybe something around the house, they have the best warranties in the business, the best ratings, and the best service. They're going to take care of you every step of the way. Fitz Roofing, making a difference one home at a time.
Yeah, see, this is, I think, far more common than people realize. And you hear stories, too, from pretty much any celebrity that if they go to just a party, like if they're hosting a house party, phones in a little bucket to start the party as soon as you're walking in the door, and then also you're signing an NDA, so anything that you see in the party you cannot talk about. I think it's far more common. At best, or at worst, I should say, all the Texans knew in that spot was that Deshaun Watson was being accused of something by some woman. Not that he was acting in all of these instances of sexual misconduct that is far, far, way too many. There's no way the Texans knew that. I also thought the New York posted a very bad, or New York Times, I should say. I don't want to misidentify who wrote this article. New York Times. I feel like while I think most of this was really good, uncovering a lot of stuff from a lot of different women, especially the ones that aren't in a civil case against Deshaun Watson, I found to be very interesting, but nothing really that we learned in this. But I thought that the part where they talked about the Texans was a reach, and I thought it was borderline slander as well. They also didn't mention Deshaun Watson's deposition, in which he says the Houston Texans did not know about the massages to the best of his knowledge. It also didn't mention the Texans' answer to a question at once upon a time. I can't remember exactly when they said this, but they mentioned they didn't learn of Deshaun Watson's sexual misconduct allegations until March. So far, far after when this NDA was slipped into the locker, and the New York Times did not mention that. So I thought it was a really bad job of the New York Times for not mentioning that, just really telling the one side of the story, and then throwing the Texans under the bus. One other thing that they mentioned about the Texans, it's unclear whether the Texans knew how many massages. Deshaun said that they weren't aware, and the Texans said they weren't aware either, but they didn't mention that in the story for some reason. Texans didn't know how many massages Watson was getting or who was providing them, but their resources helped support his massage habit away from the team. That is such a reach. Watson acknowledged in a deposition that the Texans arranged for him a place at the Houstonian. He used the fitness club, dined there, and also set up massages in the hotel rooms.
Bingo.
That's painting the Texans into the same picture of this whole saga with Deshaun Watson.
Right. No, it's not a part of the saga, but what it is going to be something that's going to be real interesting if the league investigates from the standpoint of that's greasing the wheel of some of your better players. You're not supposed to do that either. It's circumventing the salary cap to some degree.
That stuff happens all the time, though.
Okay, Jeremy, two different things here.
Here's my private jet.
Two different things. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen all the time, but I am saying as a technicality, you're not supposed to do those things. You're not supposed to get a sponsorship deal or whatever with the Houstonian and then say, "Hey, big boy, here's your keys to the room. Do as you will. We're taking care of you."
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Now, you've worked within organizations professionally, so you would know more than me.
Yeah, you cannot do that. Now,
that's two separate things. Let's be very
that's
clear.
What I'm saying.
That's NFL issues versus court of law.
Right. I don't think because here's where it gets. And I said this a few months ago when there were some people that were abruptly thrown out of the organization and let go. And then the rumors and the undertone that I was hearing was some of these people were people that were responsible for taking team property like massage tables over to the Houstonian. Those people had to know at least that there was a massage going on
I've never seen that on record at all.
No, it's not on record.
Yeah.
It's the undertones of people I've talked to that are in the know that told me, "Hey, look, there were people over in this building that were bringing stuff from our building over to the Houstonian."
He was getting a massage. They thought he was just getting a massage.
Right,
Help out. Yeah, broken
and I also
kidney,
don't think that's something that they're going to spray around. I don't think they're going to tell everybody about that. That was on the hush down low. But
until you told everybody.
Well, I told everybody months ago that it was going on because that was kind of part of Easterby's fall swoop through the organization to get rid of who didn't have the right cultural values. Because I think they were starting to uncover more and more of what actually was truly going on throughout every level of the organization as it related to this case. But I don't think it's fair to put it on the Texans because I think that in every situation with every professional sports team, from the security staff to the legal counsel, they want to help their players. Look, there are people within the organization that are going to help them with every aspect of their life, whether it be sponsors that can get them this or get them to like you said, get them to places, whether it be transportation-wise, hotel taken care of, get their driver's license done quicker, get them out of legal issues that might have popped up, things like that. Those things all happen to grease the wheel of the players to, again, make them seem like this is the kind of franchise that takes care of their players. It's not uncommon.
No, it's not uncommon. Maybe it's not technically legal by the NFL. Maybe they can get in trouble from like an NFL perspective in terms of like greasing the wheels of their best players. But to like make the claim that the Texans were facilitating Deshaun Watson's sexual misconduct, and that they didn't mention the deposition of Watson saying the team had no idea. They didn't mention the comments of the Houston Texans saying they didn't realize this until I think March of 2021, to all of a sudden say that the Texans were facilitating that and helping that with Deshaun Watson, I think is borderline slander, if I'm being completely honest with you. That said, I thought 90 to 95% of this article was actually very revealing, and I thought it had a lot of interesting things.